because they know where inexpensive things are.
Yours? Okay.
And they're quite safe. But anyway, so I'm checking into this flea bag place by myself. I mean, not a high class place. It was safe. And what's the name? And and I tell him, and and right away he's got something to say under his breath or like that. And he didn't have to explain to me what was going on. So we kind of had a little discussion about what America was like. Don't do that again. I want to smack him.
He wasn't trying to talk about America.
No, it was the Freeze name.
Oh.
It was being Freeze.
So you were a traitor or something?
Huh?
You were a traitor? Or
No. It was Frisian.
Oh, you were a rival.
He was Frisian, so SMA is Frisian.
People,
they have a reputation for being rough around the edges.
Well, maybe even the idea that they would want a team to succeed, would make a difference.
And a lot of them I've known have a very independent core street. Now that's all they do.
Yeah.
They could be rough as a cow.
And they're stiff-headed. They're known for being stiff-headed. And Aunt Bertie, she lived with a lot of Frisians there in Wisconsin. And she said, they say they're stiff-headed, and they are. And they are.
Agrarian, know-it-all, course, those kind of things.
And Grandpa and Dad didn't fit in.
And it wasn't a universal thing.
No.
What makes you freeze? Like, when did you live there?
I never lived there.
No. The name tells that way back you're from the province of that province.
Oh.
When you are Boersma, Boer is a farmer,
Mm-hmm.
and Sma means you are from Friesland.
Yeah.
So you are a farmer from Friesland.
That's Sma. Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
MA or
yeah.
SMA or that
Yeah.
ending on the name.
Miedema,
So
No, Uncle Fran wasn't.
was he not?
Mm-hmm.
No.
They were.
Medina. And they would say Medema too.
Yeah. They were not Shelders. I'm Shelders.
Yeah.
That's from the Gelderman. And they were from Groningen. And those sisters of Uncle Fran, they always put Aunt Kathy down.
they had a superiority complex.
They had superiority complex to our Aunt Kathy. Kathy said, "Oh yeah, they're always better."
Or
Those two older sisters.
that's right.
There was two of them, I think, in California. And they.
Now I could understand some Frisian words, and my mother spoke another dialect, but I never ever had heard the Dutch that her mother spoke. Never heard.
Oh, really?
That's right.
There was more.
I think
a little more Yankee Dutch.
I think Grandma slanged up with Dutch.
Well, I think the
and they had been there longer. Your mom didn't immigrate.
No, she was born.
Her parents had, but they were young.
Yeah, and her dad was 17 when he came. And I don't know when Grandma Malt came.
She may have been born in America.
I thought she was born. Oh, you mean
Great-grandma. No,
your
Grandma Proper. Grandma Proper. I don't know when she came. I just never ever heard.
What bothered me, I heard it, indirectly, that earlier immigrants treated later ones bad.
Yeah.
And that happened around England too.
Didn't your dad kind of say that too? Something like that?
And then Grandpa Malt, then he'd say they had to work for these higher ups, and there had always be the yes, ma, yes, ma, here, yes, ma, bro. That was, and then they always had a bow.
Yeah.
You always went like that,
Genuflect.
Always had a bow.
That's what it is.
There's the word.
And he got so sick of that. I guess that's when they came. When he left, and then you know, in that Comenta house, that man said, well, you know, the poorest people were the ones who left. I said, oh, yeah, I know. I said, they were poor when they came to.
And they were poor. I think the very poorest didn't go. If you were the very poorest and you had no one to sponsor you, then they didn't go.
Yeah,
You had to have a sponsor. Now, I was told that, Grandpa Boersma went back, see, they came here in 11. And I think that Grandpa Boersma and Uncle Neil and Uncle Minnow went back in 37 and paid off the balance of the loan.
Well, they went back to Holland to pay it off.
Yeah. Because they
He's still,
Money they had borrowed.
they had borrowed money to get out,
to get there, to come.
but then,
Basically a sponsorship, 25 years.
yeah, it would be 25 years.
Wow. That was probably when it was due.
Who knows? Maybe there wasn't enough money before then either, and I don't know. That was not talked about around Sunday afternoon tea time and stuff like that. I was really lucky because when we lived in Inwood then, even on a different farm, you attended the same church, and then after church, we went for tea to Grandpa and Grandma. That's the way it was, and that's the way the clans, I want to call it a clan, because that's not really right. That's how they kept together and associated and
Yeah, those are
dealt with
fine.
people.
Sure.
And I always said, when Dad got buried in the cemetery, it wasn't with the Dutchman. No, you look at that one, that's a Swede, and you look over there, that's a couple of German graves, and over there are some Norwegians.
Yeah, Cornelia said,
That was taught.
this is typical. She said, Dad lived with all these different kinds of people, and he'll be
Right.
buried by them.
Just
Right.
about be buried right there then too.
She commented on that.
All about getting along.
Because otherwise, they tended, Tucson isn't the only cemetery in the world where you're kind of buried by,
Oh, no, it's in every single cemetery that I go to.
yeah,
But,
Boy,
my dad,
buried by,
You're in your group.
in the group.
At Virginia City, there are 17 or 19 cemeteries next to each other.
Oh, in a row. Oh, it ain't
Everybody
that,
and there's a fence in the beginning, a fence around each one.
it's not that bad anyway, but.
Yeah. But literally, and that's normal in
they do
Nevada.
that, they do that in
when-
Rehoboth too.
when they had all moved west, and this is the land of opportunity, and everybody's equal, and all that stuff in the 1800s. We all come
Right.
out to mine gold and
Right.
everything,
But
and everybody's in its group. So you have the Jews, you have the Catholics, you have the Odd Fellows, you have the firefighters, you have each group gets his own cemetery. That's what they do. So that's a very
And
old tradition, because they figure you're going to be there a long time. You want to be with your people.
And in Tucson, even the animals have one
Oh yeah,
in that cemetery.
oh yeah,
A section of it is for the animals.
for the animals.
your dogs and cats.
Now for what I've seen for the poorest miners, the guys from